Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh, shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week World Series review. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by the man. Can you take me higher, Austin?
You are not Creed, but
dude, I'm not a huge Creed fan, but that song just hits different now. It's wild.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Dude, such a good man. Dude, it's wild. It's unreal.
Yeah, I can't imagine the feeling, obviously. And like I said before the video, I have to congratulate you winning the most important competition there is, getting your favorite team to win a championship before me.
Hey, I'm there for you. I know we talked about you were going to give me a call and I had my phone turned off, but it's all good. We got the text. I sent you the video of my final out, or someone took a video of me. Because if I was not certain of it till, and I was like, my brother and I texted and we're like, we're not counting. He was like, don't count when I was talking about the ALCS. But what a run. And I think this is why you watch sports, because it's amazing. The Rangers finally have their first World Series, and I don't really care how the next few years can play out. Like, this is amazing. And this is a great moment. We're at the right age where we're sports conscious. And, yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I can't imagine the feeling of I think we do have something technically personal to this, but being a guy like Jordan, a rookie coming up from Dallas, could have been selected by the Rangers. Like, there was some serious talk about him being taken by his hometown team, and he gets to watch them win. I know he's not happy about it, but I couldn't imagine the feeling as someone as young as he is playing against his former favorite team with that experience.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And he had an at-bat, and it looked like a good at-bat. He got a walk. I think he was patient, and we talked about, like, he struggled a little bit early on, and it's an improbable run, and I'm just so happy the Rangers got it, because I don't know if the Rangers are going to come back. I know that may seem shocking, but I just don't know, because if you look at it, it's such an improbable run from what that bullpen did.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I'd like to mention is the Rangers still have to make changes. Like, they can't be – this bullpen isn't secure. Oh, they played well in the postseason. Let's not make any changes. They figured it out. No, this was statistically the worst bullpen to ever make the postseason. Let's not forget that. And that is definitely something that the Rangers still have to fix. And obviously they won, and it worked out.
Yeah.
But if you want to win again, you have to make a change.
Yeah, and I'm just happy. Like, this is awesome. One team won. It's great. And first one ever. But I want to talk about that bullpen, and just I feel this has to amplify Bruce Bochy's legacy considerably. Like, I know he already had a Hall of Fame career, but but it's just so, like, it's his first year with this team.
I don't know about
considerably.
I would say it increases it. What do you mean by considerably? Because, like, I don't think it increases him to the point where he's the best manager of all time.
Yeah, I think that is hyperbolic, but I just feel that has to be a high accomplishment. That has to be, no matter if the Rangers go win one more, or while he's still there, then that could considerably, maybe, but it has to amplify his legacy. It has to be, I think, a big point on his legacy. In his first year with the Rangers, a team that didn't make the playoffs last year.
That's true, but the Giants had some of those moments. The Giants were the first wildcard team to ever win a World Series. I think that's an extremely big accomplishment. And that Giants team that did it had 88 wins, I believe.
Okay.
So they had even less wins than the than the Rangers. And I believe the Giants also did it on a lot less money. I don't remember them spending the amount that the Rangers have. And I know there's a lot of salty Astros fans or someone else saying that, oh, it doesn't really count because the Rangers spent all this money. No, it counts, and it doesn't. Whether you spend money or not, that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
And
what
you
what
just
else
have
are you supposed to do to get good players? Be trash for years, which the Rangers did. But yeah, that's my jumping in, and I want to talk about that too. But to me, Bochy was a huge part of this because I feel like the bullpen did get better, but like if you saw when they were pitching, it was like 5.5 ERA, then it was like under 1 in the postseason. I feel that has to go into just how he managed the bullpen. Or maybe am I giving too much credit to him?
I think you're giving a little bit too much.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest, because there were some big outs that guys who I didn't think could get big outs in the postseason got. So trusting your guys matters, and making sure they feel confident in themselves matters. But at the same time, like if you're not good, you're not good. Like that doesn't change. Mentally, it can affect you some, but you're not going to become an entirely different player just from motivation. Now, Bochy did an amazing job choosing when to take people out, pitching wise. I do. Another thing I'd like to mention is that Bochy gives about no cares at all about the regular season. Why do I say that? The Giants in their 3 years they won it, they had 94 wins, 92 wins, and 88 wins. They did not really care about, hey, let's go get 100 wins. Let's be the best team in the NL. They never were that. What they were at the end. That's the same thing that happened with the Rangers. Now, obviously, you don't want to lose the division because you have to play extra games, and that was definitely not the intention. But at the same time, I do think it matters that you're resting players and making sure that, hey, let's get ready for the postseason. Hey, this is what wins now, but this is what wins in the postseason. And the Rangers offense really was amazing. And I can't under-explain the importance that guys like Josh Young and Evan Carter had on this. Because you could spend all that money, but without Evan Carter, they do not win this World Series.
Absolutely. That's a great segue because I want to talk about, yes, the Rangers did spend money, but first of all, that money was wise. And the only really guy that was consistent was Corey Seager. Simeon was great on defense, but offensively struggled until the final 2 games. In my personal opinion. So Seager was a huge part, and like other teams have spent money, but it's spending money on the right type of players. But you also need a farm system, like you mentioned, Young. You mentioned Evan Carter. Then I'm going to go to Adolis Garcia, the ALCS MVP, the winner of Game 1.
He was the best hitter for the playoffs for them.
Yeah, he was probably the most consistent.
He was the best. I think that even though Seager was great, even though Garcia played less games, he was more important, and he would have won World Series MVP. I would have been shocked if he didn't.
Okay.
If he had played to his standard for the last couple games.
And when you look at Adolis Garcia, he was a guy that was DFA'd by they talked about a lot of people have talked about DFA'd by the Cardinals, traded to the Rangers. That's a good bargain, but the Rangers were lucky because they DFA'd Garcia as well. I think that's something that doesn't get. They're like, oh, the Cardinals missed. Well, the Rangers also didn't DFA'd him. It's just no one else picked him up. So it's that development from him. And I also think and we talk about spending money, it's spending money in the right places for me. That's something huge because they did it with Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. The other shortstops were Carlos Correa, Trevor Story, Javier Baez. They got big contracts. And Nathan Eovaldi was a huge signing because he was the best pitcher. And I wouldn't have been surprised. I was like, Seager's probably going to be World Series MVP, but I don't know if they give it to Eovaldi because his performance was incredible in that final game.
I don't know if he was the best pitcher during this series because I think Merrill Kelly was probably the best series.
Yeah, for the Rangers. I was thinking he's the best pitcher.
Yeah. And I know we're not talking about the Yankees at all, but I would like to make a comparison. The Yankees drafted Nestor Cortez in the 36th round in 2013, and then the Orioles drafted him off of our team in the Rule of 5 draft. So, and then they returned to the Yankees because of a trade from Seattle. So kind of like what you said, not only did the Yankees, yeah, sure, they got him, but we also got rid of him. So Netzer was amazing for us last year, and he's one of those important players, a player that was hurt most of the season. We're going to need prime Nestor, somebody who's eighth in Cy Young voting next year. But sometimes there's a little bit of luck that goes into it. You know, we send Nestor away, and he doesn't get good again until he comes back. It sometimes works out that way.
Yeah, and my point is, like, there were other moves that the Rangers didn't go buy out. They bought key pieces through money, but the other key players, like Nate Lowe, was a trade, and it was bargains. And then you got development from Josh Young and Evan Carter. Evan Carter to me is, I think Josh Young has a high strikeout rate, so I'm curious what he does next year. That's why I'm a little conscious, but to me, Evan Carter's amazing.
Did you see what the draft grade for Evan Carter's pick was?
I can tell you exactly where I was when Evan Carter was picked, and I'm like, who the heck is this guy?
Well,
What
the
are we
draft
doing?
grade given by a website that I saw was a D, and it was a complete reach, and he's going to take years to actually get to the big leagues if he ever does. I hate this pick, and here he is. And I think a good comparison is that the Yankees spend a lot of money and except for Rodon, who was hurt. Like, Judge has been amazing for us. I know he's been hurt some, but he's been amazing. Garrett Cole, who gave him the biggest contract for a pitcher ever, will win the Cy Young this year, so it's not on him. It's those intermediate guys that really win you a championship. We could not, like I said to you, Kevin, I believe that we were one of the best teams in the AL when Judge was in the lineup, but without Judge in the lineup, we are horrible. Like, not bad, horrible. We cannot hit without that player. And the fact that you can go, like I told you before getting to this point, signing DeGrom and being able to still have one of the best starting staffs for a large portion of the season until probably Evaldi went down. Then you guys kind of struggled there for a while. But the resiliency for the team to come through injury and be better at times, it's something that not every team can do. And there is luck involved. There's always luck involved. You can't win without being somewhat lucky. And that's okay. People always try to take down championships. Oh, this was lucky. Oh, Alec Thomas would never make that error 999 out of 1,000 times. I don't care. It happened. That's what happened. I don't know what to tell you.
I think you bring up a great point, and it's putting yourself in the right position for lucky plays. You can get lucky, but you also have to be in the right position to where that luck helps you win.
That's true. Like, that's what my big thing is about putting the ball in play.
Yes.
It's like, stuff can happen, and that's it. There was only 2 errors this series. The Diamondbacks were amazing in the field. The Rangers had no errors in the series, amazing in the field. Both teams were amazing. It was the first time through 3 games that no errors have been committed by either team. Like, the fielding in this series was amazing. I wish the umpiring could be better. We won't talk about that for long, but I would like to mention that. But go back to the Rays series. The Rangers win that series by just putting the ball in play and letting the Rays mess up. They're going to mess up. Striking out can be so detrimental, and I didn't see too much of that from the Rangers during these playoffs. And Bochy, I think, being an old school type of manager, kind of coached his team. Hey, in the playoffs, stuff happens. And so get on base any way possible and put the ball in play.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and that's something the Diamondbacks do well. I think the Rangers at one point were getting a little bit too home run heavy. But to me, the Diamondbacks were just great at, like, hey, just get the ball in play, let's steal. And that's something I do think some teams struggle with, and I think that's why I'm kind of not glad with the new rules is they're putting the ball in play. You need to put the ball in play. You need to apply that pressure to teams. And the Rangers are great, and it's amazing, and it's incredible. What a series. So glad they won. It's unbelievable. But to me, the Diamondbacks I'm going to make a comparison. Now, they have the depth. To me, they have depth that the Rangers had because Travis Jankowski filled in nicely for Adolis. And I liked how Travis Jankowski is like, I'm not going to be Adolis. I'm just going to be me. And it worked out. And that just goes to depth because for 2 months, Seager was out. But the depth for me for the Diamondbacks. They have such a bright future. I'm curious, do they go out and pay someone? Because they don't have to pay for a while. The Rangers, I don't know if the Rangers are going to spend big this year, but look at young guys. Maybe the Diamondbacks are like, let's go get one starting pitcher. Yeah, your thoughts?
I could see that. I think they need one more bat. I think they need one more because you can see, especially game 5, like Cattell didn't continue his hitting streak, but that's because the Rangers said we're just gonna walk you 100 times. So I don't really consider him losing his hitting streak whenever he gets 3 walks in a game. I think that resulted in at least 1 hit. But they need one guy. They need a Nick Castellanos. They need a Jorge Soler in the playoffs. I think they need one more because you're right. They don't really have besides Christian Walker, a home run hitter. And I feel like at times, especially against Evaldi in Game 5, they needed a big hit. A guy that maybe sometimes won't have the best average, but just a guy that's going to get a hit because they could never get it. And I feel like a lot of points in the series besides Game 2, they just couldn't get that hit that would put them away, put the Rangers away. So I would like to see them make a move for one guy. But if they don't, I think they're still fine. I like their team. I love their bullpen. I love their starters. I think they have a complete team for next year, and I would definitely have them at the top of my predictions to see who wins next year.
Yeah, and that's something, and it doesn't mean you have to go spend a bunch of money. It's spending money in the right place. The Rangers, I think, did the extent of that. They spent a huge amount of money in the right place, and that's, to me, Corey Seager. They paid a lot of money for DeGrom. They ate it, but worked out. So I'm not, like, it's just think about, okay, what can you add? I like your point about the bat. I'm looking at free agents. It looks like Mitch Garver, he might come back. I don't know, but it also looks like Gurriel is going to be a free agent. But just go do a value. You may have to pay a little. Well, you probably don't have to pay as much because you're in the World Series. But it's you spend money to help in areas, and then you need a farm system for when those guys go down. It's a 162 game season.
That's true. People are going to get hurt. Yeah. You're not going to have a flawless season when it comes to injury. No one is in any sport ever. How do you adjust?
Yeah, and maybe they do trades. Trades worked out with Paul Sewald. Even though he did give up that hit and he struggled in the ninth, but I think
he had an amazing postseason. I'm not going to hold him. I'm not going to hold the Seager homer or the other time they were already down. Like even if he pitches perfectly, we don't know if they're going to get a run anyway. So he didn't allow a single run through 9 innings through 3 series against great hitting teams.
And the Seager home run, I kind of give more to Seager than Sewald. I think that's just like Seager's step.
I mean, that wasn't a bad pitch. It wasn't like right down the middle. No, it was a high strike.
Yeah, Seager just was the World Series MVP. And so overall, I think Game 1 was probably the best one. The final game to me, the score doesn't show it, but man, I was nervous. Zach Gallen pitched amazing, and he had a no-hitter. I was talking about the no-hitter as much as I could so I could get it to end. But it's like it was well fought. You include the Alec Thomas error. I still didn't feel safe until I felt a little bit safer. I didn't feel safe until the whole game was over. With the Simeon home run just eased it, but I don't think the Diamondbacks should do anything. I think they should go, okay, maybe spend a little bit more money. And I'm just curious, what is the effect of what the Rangers did? Do we see teams go trade more or spend more? That's my thing.
Yeah, I want you to thank the Yankees, though, because the last 2 times that Aroldis Chapman has left the Yankees, the next season, or right after leaving the Yankees, he wins a World Series.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter if he's pitching well, which I don't think he really did all that amazing.
Yeah, no, I would have to say Leclerc was probably the best. No, Sports has to be the best. Then Leclerc.
Sports was amazing.
Yeah,
Sports was absolutely. I've never been confident with Sports coming in, and he was amazing.
Yeah,
so
he was incredible, and
shaky.
But Chapman did well. He did it.
Well, Chapman's ERA in the World Series was 5.4, but like I said, I mean, it wasn't good against. Let me see, really quickly. He had a 3.52 in the World Series against Cleveland, and he left some balls hanging in that series. But after leaving the Yankees, he left the Yankee twice, and the team, well, the year after, he wins.
Yep. Will Smith has 3 consecutive, and he was not a good pitcher.
And another thing I want to say is the year before Will Smith's first, Will Smith won. The catcher for the Dodgers. The other Will Smith.
Nice.
So technically it's been 4 straight years of a Will Smith winning.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then there was something else I wanted to say.
Nelson Cruz, I want to bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
His spirit can now rest. There was a lot of fans that hated him for it, but I always felt bad because you have to know that that's not what he excels at.
Yeah.
Like, he would have been the guy to hit the walk-off homer to win the series, not the guy to make the game-winning catch. I hope that now that the Rangers have a World Series win, that they can show some appreciation to how good of a player Nelson Cruz was.
Yeah. It's definitely 2011. It will still hurt, but it doesn't hurt as much. Not because you got it. It's great. Man, shoot, there was one thing I wanted to say. I can't remember. But about the pitching. It was about John Daniels. John Daniels' imprints were on this team, even though he's still not part of it. I know a lot of people, I've seen that on Twitter. And because I think it goes to the Joey Gallo trade. This is a team that's like, we need to get better. There weren't key players from the Joey Gallo trade in this World Series team, but I think it was a shift in focus. And just like, hey, we're going to eat it. But the Isaiah Kiner-Falefa trade to me is huge because I got Mitch Garver. You have the signings of Simeon and Seager. But then I give Evaldi and Bochy coming back to Chris Young. But I think John Daniels, he made moves, even though he was kicked out and struggled the year before, like after the World Series. They got it, and there are imprints on this team because Mitch Garver he made some key hits. And yeah, I think John Daniels did draft Evan Carter, which, like you said, wasn't expected. I was like, why are we taking him in the 2nd round? And I'm like, man, that's incredible. And we'll have to see what else happens, but overall, it's great. And but overall, I think it's a good World Series. I would have been happy if the Diamondbacks won. It would have stunk, but I think they have a bright future.
Yeah, it going 5 games and umpiring wasn't great. It wasn't like an all-time great series in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be unless it goes at least 6 or 7. Like, of the series recently, my favorite series has still been the Nationals versus the Astros. Because that one went 7, and it was intense. There were some huge homers by Soto or Rendon or Howie Kendrick. But this still was a good series, and I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's all-time, but yeah, it's a good series. It wasn't – yeah. And, I wish I could have seen that Nationals one more. But, yeah, it's just – and there were, like, blowouts in between. But – it was good, and I think I don't know what everyone will say about ratings, but it doesn't matter. It's a great win, and now what changes because it's a copycat league. So overall, it's great, and I can't wait to see what happens next year.
That's true.
Yeah,
let's see.
I'll let you close this one out.
I think you got to close this one out.
Okay,
This is your World Series episode. You don't know if you're ever gonna have another episode like this ever. So
yeah,
I'll
may
let
never
you
have this again. But oh man, it's great. I gotta gotta pull out the checkbook for a couple things. We'll see. But yeah, that's all we got. And Austin, you were a part of this journey too. I know it's not your favorite team, but you were up there. You're in the Rangers group chat, man.
That works.
Such a fun ride because, man, I thought they weren't going to make the playoffs. So it's unreal because there isn't that hype to the end. Like, it's not so close. It just kind of just like, whoa, they're in the World Series. They won. They just went. And it was one of the worst. It's the worst record the previous year before winning a World Series, which I kind of go to Bochy, but yeah. So I think it's huge. And I think it just cements Bochy's.
I think anybody who didn't believe in Bochy when you have 3 rings the way he did, I think it cements him as I think top 10 manager all time is reasonable.
Yeah, I'm not well familiar with the manager, but it's incredible what he did. Like, it's his first year. I really thought next year would be the year, but this is it. So, yeah, I'll end it. It's great. Thank you. Appreciate the support, Austin, as I was struggling with people not being superstitious. Like, stop talking. Don't say a word. Just say it when it's over. That's all we got. Let us know what you think, and we appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.